Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to was that enough hellos? Let me try that again. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, I think that was right. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome one and all. Thank you so much for being here. I love that picture of me. Look at how beautiful my skin looks. So smooth. It's like a baby's bottom, isn't it? Minus all of the well anyway, it's beautiful. Look how smooth it is. I've always been known to have beautiful skin. Um, Everything else, well, oh man. As for the rest of it, let me tell you, gravity is a mother. That's what I like to say. Gravity is a mother. Let me see. You know what I do at this time every day? I got to close some of these other windows before we crash. Let me close a few of these down. Uh, wow, it looks like wow, Lady Louisa is sitting on the floor of a packed train. Now that is very, very down to earth of her. Looks like most people on the train don't even know who she is. Lady Louisa. Okay, interesting. All right, let me bring my slides up and then we're good to go. By the way, I don't think we'll be here more than 2 hours. We are suffering a deep freeze here in the Midwest. Uh, Connie Balmer. Hey, Connie Balmer. Thank you for being here first. And hello, everybody else. Okay, there we go. I'll say hi to you as I go along, if that's okay. If that isn't too much of an imposition. All right, we're good. Hello, Angela M. Chrissy, Miss D. Bernard, Fancy, Puzzle Dot, Perlina Answer, Karen Murdoch, Sam. Let me see, Sharon Skinner, Compton Calico, Ann Gormley. I'm sorry, I always pronounced it wrong. Sabina Gomez, welcome. Mary H. Okay, let's get on with it. So, this is very strange, isn't it? As the tabloid reporter finds herself at the very center of this situation with Thomas Markle. Anyway, I believe she's trying to save face. You know, I thought that she was from the U.S. because I saw that picture of her posed in front of that Confederate flag, and I've been calling her the daughter of Dixie, but I think she's British. I don't know that I've ever heard her voice before. So if you know, let me know because not that it matters. I mean, either way, she's a pretty lousy person for the way that she has been so shady and all. But I was just mostly curious, but it doesn't matter. Um, there are bad people that come in every form. We all know that, right? There are horrible people, and they take every form. They're shapeshifters. Sometimes they can literally change their appearance. Um, yeah, but I just assumed that she was from the U.S. I was just like, gee, that's weird. But it seems like she lives in the U.S. a lot. Mm, let me see if I can find a bio for her. Okay. Oh no, this can't be her. This Carolyn Graham is 94 years old. My goodness, and she's still alive. Okay, that can't be her. Well, I tell you what. Let me ask AI. Author and academic. Huh. Oh well, I guess it doesn't matter. She is from the US. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. That's why I always call her the daughter of Dixie. Okay. Then how in the world did she get involved with the Daily Mail? I mean, I know the Daily Mail is a right wing, made up news source, but gosh, that's a long way from where she was born. What a terrible person she is. An absolutely terrible person. I have no use for her. Oh, well, enough of that. Oh, okay. All right. So there's two of you that says, yes, she's a member of the Graham. Oh, not as in Lindsey Graham, but there's another Graham that's in politics recently. But ugh, what an awful person. Okay, now I don't know where it came from, but I received this today, but it doesn't have any name attached to it. And of course, I quickly took it to my friend, the X-ray technician, to make sure that it was safe. That it wasn't ticking or anything. I'm afraid to light it though. But no, seriously, this is I was just like shocked because I wanted to get one, but I'm just like, you know, as much as I like Daniel Martin, it's hard enough to keep up with Meghan with those uptown prices. But I kept thinking about it and thinking about it, but somebody made up my mind for me or made up their mind. Well, you know what I mean. But anyway, thank you so much, whoever sent the candle. Really, I was surprised. I was surprised. I mean, I was just like doing a little dance. I'm like, yes. And Daniel also includes a card with his. I don't know if this is something that's common across, all candle makers or candle purveyors, but it did come with a card, which, well, I forgot to share it, didn't I? But it says a little winter mint, a little embered juniper, and a lot of inspiration from my cat Wheezy. La Forêt Noire feels like home on a chilly night. I'm grateful to create this with companion candle and to give back to meow mission with every candle sold. As a fellow animal lover, I wanted to be sure to share it with you first. Hugs, hugs, Daniel Martin. Ah, very nice, very nice. And on the other side of the card, it says, truly grateful for you. So thank you very much. And cheers to whoever sent this beautiful gift. I was not expecting anything like this, but I am very, very grateful. Yes. Anyway, thank you very much. Um, there we go. Have you guys ever heard? Oh, let me see, Kim Coates. I didn't see this. In Maryland, the first real snowfall. I can't believe I'm awake with you. In my head, I'm hearing you say, we're only going to be here for. Yes, we're only going to be here an hour. Any longer than that, yeah, I understand. I understand. Um, the weirdest thing happened. I was expecting snow, right? I think you have the storm that went right past Chicago, right? It went right by Chicago. I thought for certain that storm was going to pummel us, right? And it all started when a relative of mine who lives in another state told me, we're getting some really bad snow. And I'm right, okay, the snow is going from the west to the east. And I'm looking at this thing, literally looking at this thing right there west of Chicago, right? And I'm just like, okay, we're going to get it. We're going to get it. Well, we did not. The storm just kind of bypassed us. So it was really close. I was out running errands and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to get back home with the quickness to make sure that I don't get caught in this snowstorm. Well, as it were, the storm passed us by, but it was just south of us, which was amazing. But I do hope you enjoy the snowfall. It is like one of my favorite things, as you know. Um, okay. Actually, I'm going to share that radar image with you. It was so interesting. It really was. But wait, give me a second. It'll take me a minute to grab those. Or maybe not. Maybe not. Well, I'll share it with you later. We'll get on with it. Yep. Okay. Um, so have you guys ever heard of the People magazine? People magazine. People magazine is one of those little snarky things that the derangers say because they seem to think that People magazine caters to the Sussexes. I totally disagree. People magazine can be incredibly shady to the Sussexes, as we all know. terribly shady to the Sussexes. I've witnessed it. You all have witnessed it. It happens. But they want us to believe that People magazine seems to be in some kind of cahoots with Harry and Meghan. Nothing could be further from the truth. I would say that they are capable of being closer to fair than a lot of other publications, but still they're not perfect. They're better in some respects, but they're not perfect. And as far as I'm concerned, if the Sussexes, for whatever reason, seem to rely upon them to get certain things out, well, it is kind of the cost of their position that they have to do that. They from time to time they're going to have to depend on even some of the, shall we say, sometime volatile news sources to get things out. But always better than going to the likes of the Daily Mail or something like that. But yeah, that was the first time I saw that today. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. That's a matter of opinion. But Meghan, they refused to use the Meghan Sussex. Meghan's wedding dress designer reacts to her minimalist wardrobe post royal life. I'm not going to take a deep dive into this, but I did mean to talk about it just a little bit. What's her name there? Meghan's signature style is getting praise from someone who knows her fashion sense very well. Her royal wedding dress designer, Claire Waite Keller, who was behind the Duchess of Sussex off the shoulder bridal gown for her walk down the aisle to marry Prince Harry in 2018, spoke about Meghan's evolved outfit choices in her interview with, God help us, The Telegraph. The thing about Meghan is she knows what she likes, said the designer who works as is at Uniqlo's creative director. She has very much evolved her look to what you see now, a minimalist, chic, timeless, quite monochromatic wardrobe. She knows what looks good. While women of the British royal family were known to embrace color in their closets, with the late Queen famously choosing bold outfit colors in an effort to stand out in the crowd. Well, I mean, what was she, 4'11"? Meghan was known as sticking to more muted colors as a working member of the family. The Duchess of Sussex explained her reasoning in the Netflix series Harry and Meghan. And of course, Meghan said at that time that she did not want to clash with the other family members because the colors that you're allowed to wear on any particular day is based upon your ranking in the pecking order. So if Camilla says to, her dresser, I think I'll go with that blue. And of course, we know Camilla loves that, very royal, almost electric blue. And Kate also loves that color. Well, if that happens, then Kate has to wear something else. Kate doesn't get to choose to wear that color unless, well, only if, Camilla says it's okay. Then, yeah, Kate, if they're doing anything together, then Kate has to find another color. Unless Camilla decides she doesn't want to wear that, then, I think it's okay. It's just like with the jewel collection. The collection belongs to Charles. The collection is probably managed by whoever Camilla's dresser is. And Camilla certainly has the ability to dictate what jewels are loaned out as long as she's the queen consort. So that's just how it goes. Anyway, so Meghan just wanted to stay safe, and she wore her neutral palette, and um, and it worked for her. It worked for her. She looked very modern. Most of the time, it says here, most of the time that I was in the UK, I rarely wore colors. There was thought in that, yeah, there was thought in that, she said. This is Meghan's quote. To my understanding, you can never wear the same color as Her Majesty the Queen. Speaking of Queen Elizabeth, if there's a group event, but then you also shouldn't be wearing the same color as one of the other senior members of the family, she added, alluding to Kate Middleton or Camilla, who at the time was, you know, the Duchess of Cornwall. So, yeah, that is very true. And so eventually, Meghan broke out with some colors. We'll never forget when that happened. That was back in March of 2020, just before they left. Meghan decided to get some colors out. And there were other occasions when Meghan wore bright colors, like the yellow, the little yellow dress, not that long one, but the little one. And she wore that light blue button down dress in the Oceania tour, and some bold patterns as well. But for the most part, when appearing with the other family members, we know she usually toned it down, and deliberately so. I love the olive green that she wore to, I believe it was Louis' christening. I love that olive green number. Okay. So yeah, it says that all changed in 2020 after Meghan and Prince Harry announced that they were stepping back from their royal roles. And let me see, I thought, well, let's just look like a rainbow. I guess that's Meghan's quote. Yeah, let's just look like a rainbow. Meghan's style choice that week included a light blue Victoria Beckham dress, a dramatic red cape dress from Savea, and the emerald green Wickstead dress with a matching fascinator by William Chambers. So, yeah, that is what she wore when she was on her way out, and she was like, see ya. And then, of course, there is the wedding dress itself, Claire Waite Keller, and the Balenciaga night there on the left. And I forgot what that black dress is there. That is also Claire Waite Keller, I think. Anyway, that was at the British Fashion. No, yeah, is that the British Fashion Awards? Yeah, that was 2018, the British Fashion Awards, when Meghan wore that black off the shoulder. That was when she was declared vulgar. Remember that? They declared her vulgar for wearing that, even though you can find images of Queen Elizabeth and other family members wearing a off the shoulders, and then also there's a few where there was no shoulders at all. But because it was Meghan, the press dubbed it vulgar. And then they wonder, well, why did she leave? She should have just stuck it out. Uh-huh. Okay. Well, I'd like to see those people declared vulgar just for living and see how they like it. All right. And then there's Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, founder of Travelers. Founder of Travelers. Check it out. There was I think this was like their end of the year uh, thing here. It says here, we closed out 2025 together at our all hands, joined by the founder, the Duke of Sussex, our partners, board, independent advisor group, and secretariat, dialing in from across the globe as a coalition. We reflected on a foundational year. welcoming new partners, launching the first version of the data hub, scaling the travel impact model to 130 billion searches worldwide, convening the industry together at our executive summit, roundtable, and webinars. We also heard from guest speaker Susan Eddy, PhD, and Maeve Campbell as they shared insight in the COP 30 and explored how transformation can be achieved through collective effort. In other words, this is what William could have done rather than to go down to Rio de Janeiro, where there was deforestation happening just for that summit. They needed to be out in the middle of the rainforest. So, what was it? 10,000 trees were felled just so that, anyway, that William was a part of that lets you know how short sighted he is. Anyway, looking ahead to 2026, we shared plans for a year of impact. We also continue to build and align the industry behind consistent sustainability information to help make travel a force for good. So that is the closing of 2025 for Travelist. And don't forget, founded by Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. By the way, some of the biggest some of the biggest companies on the globe, credit card companies, and what else? Airlines, hotels, trillions of dollars worth of companies have signed on to Travelist. And there you can see a rich tapestry of humanity behind Travelist. Oh, did I mention that Prince Harry is the founder of Travelist? I think I mentioned that before, right? Probably. Yeah, probably. Anyway, Prince Harry is the founder. Now, my tears with Meghan's father as I told him, choose her over our friendship. Somebody is trying to clean up a rather messy situation. I told him to choose her over our friendship. Really? And what was his response? Or did that conversation ever happen? Um, Either way, I don't, how do I put this? I would imagine that Carolyn Graham, in spite of whatever this is, has other things going on in her life rather than being the phone tag buddy with Thomas Markle Sr. This relationship should not have happened. I don't care if Thomas Markle thought it a good idea. You should have known better. You should have known better. You are the reporter. He is the father of the Duchess of Sussex. If you have any respect for that institution whatsoever, then there should have been no relationship because this relationship has all the appearances of being inappropriate. Also, there are people that speculate that there is a financial incentive, whether it's from Carolyn Graham, whether it's from the Daily Mail, but people believe that there is a financial arrangement here. Now, who gets a cut of what? I don't know. I don't know. But if you are employed with the Daily Mail, right? If you are an editor for the Daily Mail and you're friends with Thomas Markle, surely you must know how inappropriate that appears. I mean, there's a lot of relationships that we may want to have in life, but it may be deemed inappropriate. Like, for instance, if you're a professor at a university and one of your students, who obviously is an adult, in all likelihood, wants to be friends, that's a gray area right there. And I do believe most people would frown upon that. You're good friends with someone who is a student. And even worse, if you're the teacher, if you're the professor. I mean, it's just maintaining a professional relationship seems like the best course of things. But that someone picks up the phone and calls you or texts you and say, I'm about to have my leg cut off. And this person has not called their daughter or their son or any other family member. All they have in the world is you. I just don't feel comfortable with that. This man is 81 years old. 81. Now, we've had two presidents back to back, 80 years old, 80 plus years old in the White House. Two of them. And all we do is question their judgment. What impact has their age and their health? What impact does that have on their judgment? So, wouldn't it be fair to question Thomas Markle's judgment at this point? I know if I was, let's say, I don't know, Meghan, and my 81-year-old father was best of friends with a tabloid reporter, a reporter who seemed hell bent on destroying both myself and my husband. I mean, some of the things that Thomas's friend has written about his son-in-law and about his daughter. Are you going to say, well, I was just doing my job? Now, see, we don't have to question your loyalty. We don't have to question that if you were not so close to Thomas Markle Sr. I mean, there are people in the tabloid media that is questioning this relationship. I don't care if it's intimate. I don't care if it's playing, what is that, Mahjong or Uno. This is inappropriate. You work for the newspaper that Meghan sued because of a letter that was handed to, I suppose it was you, Carolyn Graham. Is that even mentioned in that article? Is that even mentioned? I wonder. I wonder if that was even mentioned. This is highly inappropriate and it just should not have happened. And there's no, I mean, because listen, if you say, I just couldn't help myself, we just grew so close, then it doesn't sound like a father daughter relationship. It sounds even more inappropriate. It only gets worse. But there's no reason why she's there. There's just no reason. unless it's for something sinister. I cannot think of a reason for that relationship. None whatsoever. He has a son and he has two daughters. As I get older, people that I have been somewhat close to over the years, when something happens, we're not kids anymore. I'm not in my 20s. I'm not the closest person to you. Your children are. Let them handle it. It's none of my business. And that goes for family. That goes for family. With my siblings, you got children, let them handle it. She just happens to be a very controversial and, dare I say, a very hateful person who seems to have it in for Harry and Meghan, right? And you just happen to be best of friends with Meghan's father. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Because anybody else would think, wow, this is the ultimate scoop. This is the place to be. You are positioned in a way that most people would dream of. It would be like me being best friends with, oh gosh. Now, see, I don't know if I could ever be best friends with her because I don't really drink um, regularly. But that would be like me being best friends with Carol Middleton, right? Every time something happens, I'm on the phone with Carol Middleton. I text her almost every day. Um, and let's say Carol Middleton moved to, I don't know, Tierra del Fuego. So Carol Middleton moves to the southernmost point of South America. And she finds out that she's about to have a major surgery. And I just drop everything and I go down to Tierra del Fuego as soon as I figure out where the hell that is. Um, and yet I'm on the, not the tabloid, God help me. I'm on the YouTube dragging the royal family every chance I get. And yet I just happens to be friends with a woman who has more airline cocktail bottles in her purse than most people will consume in a lifetime, right? That would be terribly inappropriate. Doesn't matter if she wants me there or not. That would be terribly inappropriate. Now, I need to do one or two things: break off that relationship or stop dragging her family. But I should not be in both positions at the same time. That would be inappropriate. Anytime you have to say, I'm going to defer to the lawyers at the newspaper I work for, anytime you have to say, I'm going to defer to the legal department, you're probably doing something wrong. You're probably inappropriate in all likelihood. When I first met Thomas Markle 7 years ago, I never imagined it would spark a friendship that would see me spending this last week by his hospital bed in the Philippines. Now, you never imagined, but damn if you're not there. Damn if it didn't happen. You're right there. Which lets me know if Thomas Markle had gone to Timbuktu, guess what? You would have spent 22 hours hopping on and off planes to get to Timbuktu so you could watch them saw his leg off. When we met in the turbulent aftermath of his daughter's wedding made turbulent because of him, by the way, to Prince Harry in May of 2018, it was my first professional capacity as the U.S. editor for this newspaper, interviewing him about the rift that began when he posed for paparazzi pictures. Suffered 2 heart attacks, question mark, and failed to walk his daughter down the aisle. That sparked an estrangement, which sadly continues to this day. Now, she knows what Thomas believes, but she has not ever spoke to the Duchess of Sussex. So to say that this is what sparked an estrangement that continues to this very day, well, that's kind of one-sided, isn't it? A journalist I've interviewed, as a journalist, I've interviewed hundreds of people over the course of my career. I can count on the fingers of one of my hands. What? That's weird. I can count on the fingers of the one hand those I've stayed friends with. Don't people usually say, I could just count on one hand, meaning less than 5, right? Never mind. That's just weird writing. That usually happens when something is not truthful. Usually. As a journalist, I've interviewed hundreds of people. Oh, never mind. Tom is one of them, she says. Tom is one of them. These past 11 days have been a roller coaster ride in his heart. In his life, and to be honest, in mine too. Again, this writing is so weird. In the past 11 days has been a roller coaster ride in his life, and to be honest, in mine too. Just say what you mean. This has been weird for me. It's been a roller coaster ride for me. Leave Thomas out of that. Or if you want to say this has been a roller coaster ride for Tom and I, then say that. It's so cagey and evasive, isn't it? When he sent me a text Wednesday, December 3rd, telling me he was about to have his leg amputated after being hospitalized following a fall the previous day, I immediately called his son, Thomas Jr., who lives with him in the Philippines, where they had moved to at the start of this year. I was shocked to find that Tom had texted me the news from his hospital bed before telling his son. I was shocked. I was shocked. I was verklempt. I was beside myself. Or were you giddy? Were you giddy? Did you do a little dance? Did you take a victory lap? Huh? Did you take a victory lap around the swimming pool that you are able to afford because of your friendship with Thomas Markle, allegedly? I was shocked to find out that Thomas had texted me the news from his hospital bed before telling his son. And I don't believe it. Thomas Markle Jr. called his dad and immediately rang me back. He really wants you to come. This is bad. Can you come? Uh-oh, somebody has main character syndrome. Somebody's got main character syndrome. Anyway, there was no doubt in my mind that I had to go. At last, the truth. Now that is the truth. There was no doubt in her mind that she had to go. Now, the thing is, if he had problems with his leg, I would imagine you knew about that already. So, anyway, let's play along for your sake. Thomas Markle Jr. called me back to say he'd spoken to the surgeon who said there was a massive blood clot in his father's thigh and it was life or death. Bum, bum, bum. I mean, in this soap opera, of course it is. Tom is 81 and has been in increasingly poor health for years. He's one of my closest friends. This 81-year-old man who happens to be the father of the Duchess of Sussex, who happens to have been one of the things that nearly disrupted the wedding, right? The man who happened to have a couple of heart attacks, a stroke, and a stubbed his toe on the end of the bed the night before the wedding happens to be your closest friend, right? Right. Anyway, my decision to rush to the Philippines would backfire on me spectacularly last week when the full wrath of the Sussex's powerful PR team was aimed at me. Now, let me pick that apart. When the wrath of the Sussex's powerful PR team was aimed at me. But more of that later, she says, but more of that later. When I first met Tom, he was living in Rosarito, Mexico, at a beach town near the border with California, where he had retired to seek a quieter life after a 40-year career as an award-winning Hollywood lighting director. Our paths would likely never have crossed had his youngest daughter, Meghan, who made her name as a moderately, we being shady, as a moderately successful actress in the TV show Suits. Now, why did we have to say moderately successful? Now, that was just being snarky, but anyway. Anyway, not had she not met Prince Harry, married him, moved to the UK, and then here comes some more shade. Rejected royal life, gone through the Megxit, and accused the royal family of racism during an infamous Oprah Winfrey interview. She managed to squeeze all of that into one little paragraph. Thomas Markle Jr.'s ex-wife Tracy gave me Tom's number with his permission. He wanted to meet me because he was considering giving an interview to reach out to Meghan, who had ghosted him since the wedding. Tracy told him I was trustworthy. How did she know that? And we should meet. And so I found myself sitting in Thomas' living room, his 3 Emmy Awards proudly displayed on his mantelpiece, alongside a graduation picture of Meghan. No other family, just Meghan. Okay. He told me he'd been privately trying to reach Meghan, writing letters to both her and his ex-wife Doria, Meghan's mother. He tried to ring his daughter's mobile phone, only to find the number no longer worked. He told me, I just want someone to tell my story fairly. I don't know how else to reach my daughter. Only one daughter? I mean, okay. A genuine friendship blossomed yesterday. As he lay in his hospital bed, he told me, we've been through so much since then, haven't we? We sure have. Oh my God, this is just awful. In the early days, he would drive up to Los Angeles once a month to pick up mail and go to the bank. We'd meet for dinner and chat about all sorts of things. Really? Once a month, we'd meet for dinner and chat about all sorts of things. Okay. Meghan and his pain over her estrangement would invariably come up because it was a rift that haunted him every day. He told me he thought he would die of a broken heart, but talk of Meghan faded as our friendship grew to the point where we spoke most days on the phone. I didn't mention her name, even though it hovered like a dark cloud, even though it hovered like a dark cloud overhead, as that would have been picking up an open wound. Yeah, as that would have been picking at an open wound. We talked mostly about movies, music, about his Hollywood career and the stars he worked with, like Demi Moore, on shows such as Married with Children and General Hospital. By the way, Demi Moore actually got her start on General Hospital, in case you didn't know that. I knew little about how old Hollywood, I'm sorry, I knew little about old Hollywood, but Tom has an encyclopedic knowledge and took delight in introducing me to classic movies of Bugsby Berkeley, Tracy Spencer, and Jimmy Stewart. Now listen, she ain't no spring chicken herself. I know she know them people. He would ring me up and say, I've just seen this and you love it. I kept a notebook by my bedside simply to jot down his recommendations. Now that's dedication. She only kept a notebook. A reporter only kept the notebook just in case one of the great thinkers of our age, Thomas Markle Sr., right? One of the great intellectuals of our era, Thomas Markle Sr., Tugboat Tommy. She kept a notepad just in case Tugboat Tommy had something inspiring to say, or in case Tugboat Tommy wants to recommend a movie to me. That is the only reason why she kept the notepad. She couldn't just search it on her phone and store it there. It wouldn't be dramatic enough if she said, I would save the recommendation. She had to point out that she went and got a notepad. And I'm sure she was smiling when she did that. She went and got a notepad and she put that notepad right there next to her bed in case Thomas Markle contacted her. Is she married? Is she married? Does she have children? Does she have cats? I mean, what is her deal? Why is she all of a sudden so available to Thomas Markle Sr.? I'm just asking for a friend. She ain't got no good girlfriends in her life that she talks to on a daily basis, meet up with once a month, and then from there start talking on the phone day after day, gossiping about this, that, and the other. Nope, just Thomas Markle. Her life was so empty before she met Thomas Markle that it sounds to me, I'm not saying it is, but it just sounds to me like they're Laverne and Shirley, right? Like they're Cagney and Lacey. Sounds like that's her best friend in the world. This middle-aged woman doesn't seem to have any other friends except for Thomas Markle. So much so that she spent 22 hours trying to get to the Philippines before they chopped his leg off. Okay, I guess I understand that. I mean, stranger things have happened, like a father taking money to take photos to disrupt his daughter's wedding. Now, who would think that would happen? But it did. Anyway, where did I leave off? As a Brit, I never liked country music. Yeah, as a Brit, I never. Now, see, she's calling herself a Brit. This is why I'm saying I thought she was an American, but she says here, as a Brit, I never liked country music. Tom got me into Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, and Willie Nelson. We shared a passion for cats too. Tom spent a fortune feeding the strays, which gathered nightly on his patio. Once I stopped counting at 50 animals. From the start, we had an agreement. Everything we discussed was off the record unless he specifically said otherwise. All right, so you are still a professional just as much, if not more. You're still a professional in his life. You're not just his friend, but you're still a reporter. If you say from the start, we had an agreement that everything we discussed was off the record, unless he specifically said otherwise, take a look at this man on the screen. Take a look at him. Life has kicked his ass. Do you trust this man to remember whether he said something was on or off the record? I repeat, take a look at the man on the screen. Do you trust him? Right? He's 81 years old. Do you trust him to tell you definitively something is on or off the record? Now, if you were not a reporter, then you'd be like, no, I don't think that would be right. But as a reporter, you're still a working professional reporter who is still actively reporting on Meghan, still actively reporting on Harry. You're a reporter. You're never not a reporter. You're still a reporter. If you have to say something is on and off the record, then you're not his friend. You're a reporter. Am I right about that? Does that sound reasonable? If I'm your friend, we don't have to say on and off the record. I'm your friend. I should kind of know, okay, I'll leave that alone because that can get someone hurt. That may hurt someone's feelings. But that never happened. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I feel it's important to set the record straight. I've only ever written stories with Tom's express permission. Oh, wait, did I miss something? Oh, I'm sorry. Last week, Meghan's PR machine accused me of breaching ethical boundaries by being by his bedside and reporting on him having his left leg amputated below the knee. I feel as if it's important to set the record straight. I've only ever written stories with Tom's express permission. And he told me he wanted to give an interview to tell the Mail on Sunday, not to tell her, but to tell the Mail on Sunday, as he sought control of the narrative around his amputation. He's been He's been burned a lot by people on the internet making up stories. He also wanted to reach out one last time to Meghan. Listen, didn't this whole problem with the estrangement from his daughter, didn't this happen because you were trying to take control of the narrative? Didn't you go and take those photos that were paid for with the express purpose of setting the record straight, of taking control of the narrative, because you don't want to look like a fat slob, right? You don't want people to just think you are constantly at Kentucky Fried Chicken or at the convenience store buying beer that you don't drink, beer that you said you gave to the security guards at this apartment complex because it's a good idea for them to drink on duty. Is that right? This is what you say, that you looked bad, and the tabloids reporters The tabloid paparazzi people, the people who already made you look bad, they approached you and said, "Would you like to look better? Well, here, we're going to pay you an undisclosed amount of money to take some pictures pretending like you're getting ready for your trip to the UK." And then just before the wedding, in order to disparage Meghan, they report that these pictures are a plant. So, all I'm saying is this is the exact same thing that happened 7 years ago. You wanted to take control of the narrative, and the tabloid media was there to help you. And by doing so, you lost your daughter. And so, fast forward to 2025, 7 years later, you strike up, or should I say, no, 7 years ago, you struck up a relationship with someone from the same tabloid. And after you tell them that I'm having surgery, I want to give you an interview so I can set the record straight. I want to take control of the narrative. That's how you lost your daughter the first time. How many times are you going to lose your daughter because you won't shut up? Because you won't stop taking, or should I say, you won't stop talking. Now, see, that was a Freudian slip because I was about to say, because you won't stop taking money from the press. I feel it is important to set the record straight. I've only ever written stories with Tom's express permission. He told me he wanted to give me an interview to the Mail on Sunday as he sought to control the narrative around his amputation. He'd been burned by a lot of people on the internet making up stories, and he wanted to reach out one last time to Meghan. He is making good progress, but as oh, sorry. But is far from being out of the woods. He said, "I don't know if she realizes how sick I am and that I might die." Well, I don't know. He survived 2 heart attacks and a stroke, right? I thought we heard the last of him with that stroke, and he ain't shut up since. Let me see, I want to do a story because I'm sure there is all sorts of made up stuff. Well, he said shit, of made up shit on the internet. After last Sunday's story came out, I received a flurry of messages from one of her PR team. I found a ton of unnecessary, aggressive, and was unnecessarily aggressive. I'm sorry. I got that wrong. I found the tone was unnecessarily aggressive and was so concerned, I told him I would prefer that he dealt with my editor and the paper's legal team. I had other things to worry about, like looking after Tom, whose life was hanging in the balance. Now, ain't that a listen? Let me do that one more time. I received a flurry of messages from one of her PR team. I found the tone unnecessarily aggressive. You are a tabloid reporter. You are from the source of the estrangement, the Daily Mail. You're the one who wrote an article about Thomas Markle's letter, about Meghan's letter to her father. So I wouldn't say, as a third party, an outsider, if it was aggressive in tone, I would say that was necessary. It's only unnecessarily aggressive because you are the subject of the aggression. But to the rest of the world, if I could only communicate through my parent, through a tabloid reporter, a two-bid tabloid reporter whose career is based on writing some of the most provocative, hateful articles that anybody could conceive of, then yes, I would probably be very aggressive. So anyway, she said she would prefer that they talk to that he would talk to the editor of the paper's legal team. I had other things to worry about, like looking after Tom, whose life was hanging in the balance. After publication of our interview, in which Tom said he wanted to see his daughter one last time before he dies, Meghan's spokesman issued a statement saying she had, in fact, already emailed him. The problem is the Duchess sent it to an email address that he hasn't used in years. He had lost the password and had given up. Anyone who knows Tom knows he doesn't like emails. Well, anybody who knows Meghan knows she don't like sending letters to people that turn them over to a tabloid newspaper. But she reached out anyway. But he has kept the same phone number for at least 2 decades, saying he will never change it. Okay, here come the BS, saying that he would never change it because he wants to make sure that Meghan can always reach him. Now that's very thoughtful. Tom was baffled. How can Meg say she doesn't have my number? It's the same one I've had for 20 years. She and Doria called it all the time. The Sussex's spokesman also claimed Meghan's team had been calling around hospitals in the town of Cebu, where we were based, trying to find him. Her father and I have discussed many times what would happen if she did reach out to him. Let me say that for you one more time. Her father and I, Carolyn Graham, tabloid reporter, her father and I, Carolyn Graham, tabloid reporter, I'm throwing that in there myself, have discussed many times what would happen if she did try to reach out to him. Now, I don't know about you guys, but would you find that comforting knowing that your father and a tabloid reporter have had lengthy discussions about what would happen if I reached out to my father? Would that give you any comfort? Would that make you feel better knowing that your father and a tabloid reporter for one of the worst, most devastatingly cruel tabloid newspapers in the world, my father and a reporter who has written horrible things about my husband and myself, that reporter has discussed on several occasions what would happen if I contacted my parent. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not feeling it. I don't feel comfortable with that. That makes me feel rather odd that I have to filter my conversation through a tabloid reporter. Okay. I have always said I would walk away from our friendship if it meant he could reconcile with her. Painful as that would be, and we both had tears in our eyes as and we both had tears in our eyes as we discussed it again last week. It would be impossible for him to reconcile with her while having a friend in the media, particularly one in the British press, for which Prince Harry was repeatedly expressed his hatred. No, no, no. Let me rewrite that one. For which, okay, particularly one in the British press who has questioned Prince Harry's right to receive the Pat Tillman Award by getting in a relationship with Pat Tillman's mother and then writing these horrific articles declaring Harry unfit to receive the Pat Tillman Award. In spite of his long, storied career as one who has helped numerous veterans and their families, Harry was unfit for the Pat Tillman Award, and Carolyn Graham seemed hell bent on setting out to prove it. Or how about the Legends of Aviation, where she made a complete mockery of that process? Right? And don't even get me started about the stuff she said about Meghan. She has been a terrible person, but there's no mention of that here, of course. But she's been awful. She seems like she has some type of vendetta against the Sussexes, and yet she is Thomas Markle's best friend, the one that he turns to when he has a story to sell, allegedly, like getting his leg amputated. Allegedly. It would be impossible for him to reconcile with her while having a friend in the media, particularly one in the British press, for which Prince Harry has repeatedly expressed his hatred, and rightly so. And rightly so. When the Sussex's spokesman reached out to me, I wanted to do everything within my power to assist him. Tom did not have his phone with him in the intensive care unit. Tom Jr. was told hospital policy forbids them in the ICU, so he had taken his dad's phone home. How convenient. How convenient. But the following day, Monday of last week, I arrived at the hospital to find Tom had been moved into a regular room, which, is lightning fast for an 81-year-old man who just had his leg amputated. Okay, he had been moved into a regular room. I text Thomas Jr., who said, "Should I bring Dad's phone?" To which I immediately replied, yes. Tom arrived with it, and the first thing I did was to send a WhatsApp message to Meghan's spokesman. Okay, she's handling Tom's phone. We have that on the record. After first checking with Tom that this was okay. Okay. Now, the question is this the first time you have handled Thomas Markle Sr.'s cell phone? Whatever. I gave Tom's phone number, the hospital name, and even his room number, but no one called, and at the time of publication, still hasn't. The hospital has a blanket security ban in place to stop any paparazzi infiltrating his room. When Tom had a massive stroke in 2022, so massive that he seemed to recover fully and ain't stopped talking since, I was in his hospital room when a neighbor called to say a paparazzi was trying to enter his Mexican home. Tom had collapsed there, and the man wanted to photograph Scattered item. Yeah, one more time. Scattered items on the floor, and his half-eaten sandwich on the table. I'm sorry, that's not funny that he collapsed mid sandwich. And I'm pretty sure that's the first thing he asked for when he set up. Where's my sandwich? But back to these past few days, which have been heartbreaking for Tom. He has lost a limb, and while he has been very brave and made remarkable progress, I watched in awe last week as he started physical therapy to build his muscles. He is still processing the enormity of what happened, and all of the while, he has been waiting for Meghan to call. For 2 days, he had his phone plugged in by his bedside. He kept asking me to check it, just in case he'd missed something while he slept. I made it clear that if she called while I was there, I would immediately leave the room. Yes, you would leave the room. That's what most reporters would do. Immediately leave the room. He's a proud man and a very brave one. It was sad. It was a sad sight to see. Then things got stranger. On Monday afternoon, the assistant to the president of the hospital came to his room brandishing a one-page legal document headed Consent and Waiver for U.S. Embassy Representative Visit. The document said that Tom hereby requests and allow a duly authorized representative of the U.S. Embassy to visit me in the hospital room for consular assistance. It went on to waive his legal right to privacy under Philippines law. Hospitals cannot disclose the name of a patient to anyone, and added the visit is at the request of the U.S. Embassy. After he signed and the assistant left, he said, "What do you think that was about? Who would get the U.S. Embassy involved? Do you think it's Meghan and Harry?" Moments later, a consular official entered the room. When Tom asked who had called the embassy, he said, "I'm sorry, sir. I don't know." He thrust another piece of paper in front of Tom, headed with the U.S. crest and the words, "Written consent to release of personal information under the Privacy Act." The official explained, "If somebody called the embassy and asked about you, can you give a specific names of people the embassy is authorized to give details to?" Tom gave 4 names: Prince Harry, Meghan, Thomas Jr., and me, meaning, of course, guess who? Carolyn Graham. So Prince Harry, Meghan, Thomas Jr., and me. They left somebody out of that, right? Y'all know that somebody got left out of it, and I bet she ain't happy. Samantha. Samantha is not part of the circle of trust. On Wednesday, Tom was in the middle of physical therapy session when the president of the hospital walked into the room with his lawyer with no warning. I covered his amputated leg with a sheet to preserve his dignity. If he had any dignity, she wouldn't be there. Anyway, he was asked to sign yet another legal document to confirm that he was about to receive a letter from his daughter and that the letter was sealed and personally handed to him. The lawyer said the handover would be videoed so that the video could be sent to Meghan. The whole thing felt surreal. The fact that a reporter from the Daily Mail is sitting with my father in a hospital in the Philippines is surreal. I repeat, The fact that a reporter from the Daily Mail is sitting, I'm sorry, I'm banging my fist. The fact that a reporter from the Daily Mail that I sued years ago is in the hospital with my father is also surreal. What are you talking about? What's surreal? That's surreal. If anybody would have told me that a reporter from a newspaper that I sued for breach of copyright or copyright infringement would be sitting in a room with my father 7 years after the wedding, I would say, gosh, this is surreal. I cannot believe this. There's a reporter sitting with my father in the Philippines, of all places. So I don't get what is the outrage by this. The reason why there's an official with a document to be signed and the videotape of the handoff of said document must be signed is because there's a reporter sitting in the room with my father. A reporter who's had access to everything and anything that my father has regarding me. That's surreal. I offered to leave the room. Tom asked me to stay. Of course he did. Once the handover was complete and duly taped for the Sussexes, he and I sat staring at each other. And you know what they was thinking at the time, right? I am going to allege they were thinking, is it okay for her to stay while I read this letter? Or does that mean she have to leave? Well, the Daily Mail legal team is not here to advise us, so I wonder what happened. The letter in its glaringly white envelope lay on his hospital bed. Tom was physically trembling at the sight of the letter, so I asked Tom whether I should move it. I placed it out of his sight next to his uneaten lunch. Oh boy, she paints a picture, don't she? For 4 hours, he fretted about opening the envelope. He was scared it might contain bad news. He eventually opened it, reading and rereading it several times. He shared nothing about its contents, and I asked no questions. Wink, wink. I'm saying wink, wink. That's not what it says here. I told him what I've told him so many times before. I hope this letter might start the reconciliation he longs for. And there's no vested interest in him reconciling with his daughter in the presence or during a period of time in which he has friended a tabloid reporter. The only reason that she wants reconciliation is for the sake of Thomas Markle, who deserves reconciliation for the fact that he has kept his mouth shut and haven't talked to a reporter in 7 years. I'm being sarcastic when I say that. I told him what I'm sorry. It still stuns me that he has never met his son-in-law, Prince Harry, nor his grandchildren, Archie and Lily. Now that's disingenuous as hell. That's disingenuous. It still stuns me that he's never met Archie, Lily, or Harry. You know what else is stunning? It's stunning to me that a tabloid reporter is besties with my father. A tabloid reporter from the newspaper, I'm doing my fist again, from the newspaper that I had to sue for copyright infringement. That same reporter has flown 22 hours on and off of planes to be by my father's side, my father who called a tabloid reporter before he called his son, before he called his daughter, right? That still stuns me. This stuns me. This stuns me. All of this right here stuns me. I'm so stunned by the likes of Carolyn Graham sitting by my father's bedside. I'm stunned. I'm just stunned. I'm stunned that my father moved to Mexico. I'm stunned that my father moved to the Philippines. I'm stunned. All of that is just stunning. So when you say, I'm stunned that he has not met Harry, that he has not met his grandchildren, are you really stunned? Are you not even surprised that you're there? You should be surprised you're there. Who would have thought 7 years ago that introducing yourself to Thomas Markle Sr., the father of the Duchess of Sussex, the father-in-law to Prince Harry, the most popular royal in the family, well, who would not be stunned to be there? But she's not stunned about that. She's only stunned that Harry has not met his father-in-law. Harry told him, we want to get you out of there. Do not talk to the press. Have you talked to the press? No, I haven't talked to the press. Okay. Well, we're going to send someone to get you, and we're going to bring you here, and we're going to get you a suit for the wedding. Well, I can't leave just yet because I got things to do. Now, that's stunning. Your daughter is marrying into the British royal family, but you can't leave town just yet because you got things to do. A wedding that you never meant to attend. He ain't meant to go to that wedding. Anyway, Tom asked me not to tell anyone he had received the letter. I swore secrecy and told no one. But when I got back to my hotel room hours later and turned on my phone, it blew up with messages from friends and other journalists saying the Sussexes had released the fact that Meghan's letter was safely in his hands and had laid into me. Her people accused me of breaching ethical boundaries. Yet they released the fact that Meghan's letter had been delivered to her father. The whole thing feels hypocritical to me, and perhaps I'm still feeling burned, feeling the burn of being squarely in the Markle machines firing line. The Markle's machines firing line. The Sussexes' statement to Reuters news agency said, given that the Daily Mail reporter has remained at her father's bedside throughout broadcasting each interaction and breaching clear ethical boundaries, it has been exceedingly difficult for the Duchess to contact her father privately, despite her efforts over the past several days. Now, remember, Carolyn Graham said that she offered to leave the room. There's no proof that she said that. There's no proof, there's no evidence that she clearly told Thomas Markle, if Meghan reaches out to you, I'm leaving the room. The fact that you flew 22 hours to get to the Philippines, what are the chances that any communication from Meghan would mean that you're going to stand up and march out the room like a soldier? I say there is very little chance of that. Very little chance. With the support of reliable and trusted contacts, her correspondence is now safely in his hands. I'm not going into what Mr. Markle said, at least not yet. When I told him this, all I can say is that their statement is demonstrably false. I gave Meghan's PR her dad's number, hospital name, and room number on Monday. The letter arrived on Wednesday. Her people criticized me for jumping on the plane to be there with my friend. To me, the lingering question is, why didn't she do the same? Because, oh, let me stop banging my fist. Because you are there. You are there. That's why. That's why she didn't do the same, because you are there. Why didn't she do the same? Are you serious? Do you hear the sound of your own voice? She has all the resources in the world. Her father is a proud man. Really? Why? What is he so proud of? The fact that he has been grifting off of his daughter for how long has it been now? That's what he's proud of? Her father is a proud man, but could use her help now more than any time in his life. But he doesn't need her help. He's got Carolyn Graham. He's got the Mail on Sunday. He's got Thomas Markle Jr. He's got Thomas Markle Jr. He don't need Meghan. I have only heard one side of the story, and as an impartial journalist, I know there are always two sides. I applaud Meghan for contacting her father. I truly hope her letter opens the door to reapproachment. To rapproachement. Let me get that right. I, for one, would be happy to give up a friendship that is the world. I'm sorry. One more time. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh. I, for one, would be happy to give up a friendship that is the world to me if it means Tom gets back the one thing he's always wanted, Meghan. Okay. That's it, you guys. That's the end of the article. That's all she wrote. End of. I tell you, what a load of crap. What a load of crap. As an impartial journalist, she had the nerves to say impartial. As the ultimate right-wing hack. Okay? This is my image of Thomas Markle. Actually, one of the other squatties created this image, but see me before I die. See me before I die. You know who took these pictures, right? Carolyn Graham. And this picture. Now, these pictures, listen, this is what happens when you have friends in low places. I don't suppose Carolyn Graham took these pictures, but somebody who knew exactly where Thomas Markle Sr. and Jr. was located took these photos. Now, I don't know the age of the people in the photos, so just to be safe, I just covered up their faces, right? I don't know who these people are or what they mean to them or whatever. I'm assuming that they are adults, but still I want to protect their privacy. Like father, like son. Oh, there's Thomas Markle right there. Now somebody took a picture of him. Actually, someone took all these pictures. They ended up, guess where? In the Daily Mail. And listen, I'm not trying to be funny, but I zoomed in on that sign. Guess what it says? Guess what it says? Reminder, do not leave garbage here. Isn't that ironic? Do not leave garbage here. I won't add anything else to that. I have nothing to add to that. This is more of Thomas and Son, Thomas Markle and Son in the Philippines. I tell you, for someone who's had two heart attacks, a stroke, and what else? What other maladies has he suffered? For someone who's in such bad shape, he looks good to me. Minus a foot now, but yeah, he still looks good to me. Now, this is where it all started, you guys. Thomas Markle Sr. posing for photos. Um, he got tired of people taking those paparazzi images of him. So he this time he decided to pose for paparazzi images. There's Thomas reading about Britain. There's Thomas being measured for a suit. Do you know the person that's measuring him doesn't even work in the trade? This young man works at a video store, and Thomas Markle had to tell him how to measure a person for a suit. That's what's happening there. And of course, there's Thomas, who is supposedly surfing the internet trying to learn about Britain. There's Thomas out there with some dumbbells walking, trying to get in shape for the trying to get in shape for the wedding, right? And the truth is, Thomas Markle actively participated with the paparazzis for these photos. Now, as the story goes, Harry and Meghan was trying to tell him, please do not talk to the press. He denied that he talked to the press, which he did. So that means that Thomas Markle Sr. is a liar. He might be 81 years old. He may be in frail health, but he's a liar. He is a liar, a confirmed liar. He lied about speaking to the paparazzi. So much so that I'm not even concerned that I'll get in trouble for saying that he's a liar, because he lied. And that's what a liar is. Liars lie. He lied. He told an untruth. He said what he said directly to his daughter that he loved so much. And the thing that he did nearly derailed the wedding. And who was one of the first people to write about it? Carolyn Graham. Thomas Markle can't go near tabloid honcho after alleged death threats. The tabloid owner, who claimed Thomas Markle is out to unalive him, just got 2 years of court-ordered protection from Meghan's father. According to a new legal doc obtained TMZ, a judge granted Jeff Rayner a restraining order against Thomas, who did not show up for Tuesday's court hearing. The protective order will be in place for the next 2 years. And even though Thomas Markle didn't show up for the hearing, the court says Thomas was served with legal. That's the fragile, frail old man who's desperate to see his daughter. Sounds a bit unhinged to me, and I wouldn't want him near my children, father or not. This is Thomas Markle, who I can't remember if this was the stroke or the heart attack or the other heart attack. But for someone who is in dire straits, he certainly looks pretty alert to me. If it's one thing he should have learned from being in Hollywood all those years, If it's one thing he should have learned from being a lighting director, is you let the camera find you. Always let the camera find you. And what is he doing? Looking for the damn camera, looking directly into the camera. You are in a near death situation, and somehow your eyes and the lens of the camera met. Do you see why people are suspicious? This is Thomas Markle on 60 Minutes Australia. It's like 60 Minutes US, but the quality is really bad. It's a very trashy show. Interview of the year, Thomas Markle, My Story. Now, the question is, was Thomas Markle paid to participate in this news story? I don't know. I'm asking the question. Was he paid? Because it seems like he doesn't talk unless there's money involved. So that's why I'm asking, was he paid for the story of the year? Exclusive. Meet the American cousins. Baby Sussex may never know, as Thomas Markle is revealed to have never met his two grandchildren and be barely in touch with the others. In other words, he doesn't talk to his grandkids. There's no relationship with the other grandkids. Thomas Dooley, Tyler Dooley, Chris, Noel, he doesn't talk to those people. But the only grandkids that can really pay off if he meets them is Archie and Lily. The rest of the family, to him, they don't matter. They don't matter. And what a curious trio we have here. You got Samantha. I don't see her mode of transportation nearby. Maybe the couch. Do you guys think the couch got wheels on it? I'm just asking for a friend. Do you think the couch actually has wheels? Maybe it's a threefer. Oh, you see this? Revealed. The letter showing, and if you look all the way over there to the left side, this is an article that was written by guess who? Carolyn Graham. This is one of those Carolyn Graham stories. An article written by Carolyn Graham. An article that, of course, is trashing Meghan, the person who doesn't want to run into her at a hospital ward. Thomas Markle's former friend reveals surprising behind the scene detail about his behavior. Oh, and there's Carolyn Graham. Thomas Markle is finally spilling the beans and naming Jason Knopf, Prince William's chief of staff, Dylan Howard, TMZ, Jeff Rayner, Harvey Weinstein's personal, what is that? Well, anyway, Thomas, is that a private investigator? Thomas now realized that Kensington Royals, Jason Knopf, was using him to thwart Harry and Meghan's wedding, allegedly. Now, take a look here on the right. Watch Channel 7 has issued an on-air apology after Thomas Markle made unfounded allegations during a live interview yesterday. The interview has now been removed from all platforms. That was the interview where he mentioned names like Jason, Dylan, and Jeff. Yeah, that was the interview that was on what is that, Sunrise or whatever that show is. But you know what, guys? When Carolyn Graham speaks of Meghan's PR machine, that includes people that Meghan has never met, that she knows nothing about, people like myself, who has been calling them out. Social media has changed everything. Social media is the reason why the viewer and readership for classic legacy media and tabloid media is dying. People are not reading the Daily Mail as much as they used to. You know, the Daily Mail put this article behind the paywall, right? Well, for a while, Daily Mail was putting a whole lot of stuff behind the paywall, but I would say the paywall has been reduced by about 75% or more because people were not willing to invest money for trash. Oh, and there's Meghan's brother accused of the ultimate betrayal after posting vile, mocking rants on YouTube dressed in a wig with a cushion stuffed in his jumper, introducing himself as Meghan. In other words, he was feeding into that narrative about Meghan's so-called surrogate children or whatever. Um, he was, in other words, he was performing for the Derangers. He would do anything to earn money. So his channel is just one big long grift. Fury at Meghan's bro sick YouTube vids. The videos were terrible. And he called Meghan names that I cannot repeat. Okay? Names that I cannot repeat. Like the worst names that you could say of any woman. That was the language that he used. Her own brother. It feels like we've lost a member of our family. Meghan's estranged father, Thomas, pays tribute to the Queen, saying it's the end of an era and truly a loss to the world. Well, I don't know. It's been over 2 years, and I don't think that the world has skipped a beat, right? I don't think the world has skipped a beat. Still, more people speak of Princess Diana than people speak of Queen Elizabeth. It's almost as though Queen Elizabeth never exists. So yeah, I disagree with the that this was a big loss. She was here and then she wasn't. Let me see. I was looking for a receipt and just realized that both rumors about Meghan and Dior and Senate all came from Queen Camilla's biographer, Carolyn Graham. These were the extensively debated on. I'm sorry, and these were then extensively debated on UK morning shows. Camilla's going after Princess Diana's daughter-in-law is a sickness. Well, the person who posted that was referring to, remember when they said that Meghan was planning to run for Senate in California? Well, that was a Carolyn Graham article. What about the thing about Meghan being a representative of Dior? Anyway, Carolyn Graham has been after Meghan for years. So if Meghan does not ever want to be in that woman's company, it is easy to understand why. And based on the behavior of her father, I couldn't imagine why Meghan would want to jeopardize her peace of mind, her sanity, her mental health and well-being. Why would you risk that for someone who is best friends with Carolyn Graham? Even if it is your father, this is someone who seems to mean you harm. Carolyn Graham has been very cruel with the Sussexes, right? This woman seems to have said some horrible things about myself and my husband. So, yeah, I'm going to go to the Philippines and run the risk of running into her. That's okay. If I didn't see my father before this, I don't have to see him tomorrow or the next day. It's unfortunate, but this is what her father asked for. This is something he chose, not Meghan. Thomas Markle proves how profitable a royal relative can be. Thomas and Samantha Markle have been accused of selling out Meghan to the tabloids. Kensington Palace and Meghan and Harry would be well advised to make nice. Now, that's a Tom Sykes article. That's Tom Sykes, another hater. We'll lie for money and attention. I have other grandkids. Question mark. Too lazy to get a job. Grift, grift, grift. And of course, this brings me right back to where I started. I have for a long time believed that Thomas Markle is the love child of Otis the Wino and Aunt B on the Andy Griffith Show. I cannot prove it. I don't have the proof. But I have, if you use facial recognition, if you merge those two faces on the left, I promise you, you would get Thomas Markle Sr. Clearly, those are his parents. I cannot prove it. I cannot prove it, but I promise you, those are his parents. Life on the set of the Andy Griffith Show was anything but dull. Anything but dull. I don't know. Maybe Otis went into Aunt B's trailer. Maybe Aunt B went into Otis' trailer. Who knows how it happened? But as a result of that, we have Thomas Markle Sr., aka Loser. You guys, I was gonna do these other stuff, but I think I've talked for almost 2 hours straight. So I'll do those other things tomorrow. I am going to take a look at some of your stuff in the chat, though. Is that okay? As an impartial journalist, I have only heard one side of the story. Now, after all of that stuff Carolyn Graham said, she waits till she gets to the very last two sentences. I have heard only one side of the story, and as an impartial journalist, I know there's always two sides. I applaud Meghan for contacting her father. I truly hope her letter opens the door to rapprochement. I, for one, would be happy to give up a friendship that is the world to me if it means Tom gets back to one thing he's always wanted, Meghan. I do not buy this for nothing in the world. If I was Meghan, I wouldn't trust either one of those two people. I wouldn't. I just couldn't. They have proven themselves to be very, very untrustworthy. And unfortunately, that includes her father. Well, I mean, good people can have terrible children. Good people could have terrible children, and terrible people can have good children. So I understand what you're saying. I mean, beloved characters like Otis and Aunt B. But, well, by the way, if you ever read anything about Aunt B, she was not very friendly. They tried to get her to participate in a reunion, and she refused to do it. Yep, poor Aunt B never had any children. Poor thing died quite alone. She always, and this is the truth though. Um, Vivian, what's her name? Something Bouvier, whatever her name was. She always felt as though she was too great an actress to be on a show like the Andy Griffith Show. She and Andy did not get along at all. The only person she could tolerate on the Andy Griffith Show was Opie. She was friendly with Opie. Well, he was a kid, of course she was. But otherwise, she pretty much kept to herself. Oh yeah, Frances. Was it is it Bouvier? 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 Yeah, she was not a nice person. I'm sorry to say it, but she was not very nice. Meghan asked him to choose her several times, and he declined, like he was looking for better than her. You know, that's true. That's true. I don't know. I don't know why Thomas Markle would take the path that he's taken, but that was very short sighted on his side. That was very short sighted. He should have never gotten involved with those tabloids. Doria was faced with the same situation, and Doria simply said, "That is my daughter." Yeah, but you can make a lot of money. That is my daughter. Daughter. That is my daughter. Thomas Markle looked at the paparazzi and the tabloids and he saw opportunity. Remember when he said that Meghan owes him, that Harry owes him, the royal family owes him, and now it's time for daddy to get paid, or now it's time to pay daddy? Oh my God, I almost vomited when I heard that. I was like, ugh, ugh. I was dry heaving. That was just gross. That was just gross. It just sounded so weird coming out of him. Very strange. Oh, okay. Okay. There you go. Thank you for that. Oh, okay. Well, um, mm, he just never should have got involved with the paparazzi. All of this started because of his involvement with the paparazzi. Yes, and there's plenty of it. There's plenty. There's plenty material out there about what Carolyn Graham has been up to in the past 7 years. I don't know how I would be friends with someone who has been so cruel to my daughter. And likewise, I don't know if I could ever call someone a friend who has been cruel to their daughter. You understand what I'm saying? I could understand Carolyn Graham doing that because she's Carolyn Graham, shady. But if I had a friend and I felt as though my friend was causing a great deal of pain to their own child, I don't think I would be around that person for long. Anybody who would turn on their own child would turn on anybody. And Carolyn Graham would do well to remember that. Mm. That's a great point. That is a good point. Okay, you guys, I have exhausted myself speaking of this Thomas Markle person. Um, the mango Mussolini. I love that. It's really unfortunate, though. It's so sad. So sad. I really feel bad for Meghan and Harry because both of their fathers are so trashy. Both of them. One father seems to be in bed with the tabloids. Well, actually, that's both fathers, isn't it? That seems to be both fathers in bed with the tabloids. And especially for Harry, the one thing that has caused him the most grief in his life, the tabloids. And the tabloids have tried to destroy his wife. They've already caused his mother's untimely demise. Um, I mean, when does it end? And let us not forget, there is a court next month, right? Harry's taking the Daily Mail to court just in time for the court date. Okay, you guys, I'm going to say goodnight. Love you guys. I will see you all next time.